Hey, all right. I think we are live. We got some background music.
Oh yeah, it's good.
Subtle improvements as we go. 1 second. I'm gonna just figure out how to get us into our normal mode. Here we go. Tune down that music. All right. It is thematically the last week of summer.
Yeah.
We're kind of fine tuning our AI office hours based on demand. We seem to be getting lots of hits and responses to the shorts that we cut out of these videos. So just a shout out and thanks to anyone tuning in to what we've got going on here. I'm Chris Bryce, the CEO of Dotfusion and of our newly formed AI agency called Tricycle AI.
That's
Dave,
right.
CTO, what's going on, man?
Yeah, not too much is going on. I mean, like we've been working on some of the same stuff as last week. We got all our voice agent stuff we're cooking up. We've got some custom projects that we're getting closer to the end, and just looking at starting the fall off, because I know that like a lot of people sort of take a bit of a production break over the summer and just try to keep everything running, but don't make any major decisions. So I know that a lot of people are getting back in that office and starting to get in decision-making mode. And a lot has happened this summer compared to other summers with technology. I think like this is probably the fastest technology summer that I've ever experienced from start to finish. Like we're in drastically a much different place than we were at the start of the summer, I would say. So yeah, I think everybody's just lacing up and getting ready for the September push.
Cool, man. Great. So maybe I'll just say a little blurb about newly formed Tricycle AI.
Yeah.
We're calling it an AI agency in that we've got teams that can deliver on a fairly wide range of AI products, but we're really focused on helping organizations streamline their sales, marketing, and product development, and just being general good folks in the community. So love sharing stuff. We've got all kinds of friends and family that have been asking us to help them with this or that in AI, and then we've got the business side of things too. And maybe I'll start out with a little bit of a friends and family question that's come up over the past couple of weeks a few times.
Sure.
So most folks I know that have their hands on some kind of AI are using ChatGPT. This kind of ChatGPT seems to be the most commonly used. Then there's the Claude users, maybe a little bit more around copy and writing. And now more people are getting into Perplexity and Perplexity Comment Browser to kind of, take a few automations and workflows off their back. Then we got kind of the heavier lifters, DeepSeek guys, the Grok guys, folks that start using APIs to get things done in enterprises that are, really tuning into building their own LLMs and their own GTPs inside. But right back to basics. GPT can be confusing for some folks, and they've got this option to create a custom GTP, create a project, or to use an agent. And now you just let me know that they've got this kind of canvas option as well.
Yeah, it's interesting. They've added a lot of tooling. Within 5, they've allowed you to change between sort of quick and expert mode, which is like sort of similar to the thinking mode in the previous 4, but it sort of like pivots to find the quickest response with the model, so it's able to do some routing to the correct model within there. But yeah, it's really interesting. And I was telling you that those projects are actually quite powerful, because instead of building out custom applications, I was telling you for one of the clients who was doing grant research and grant writing and letters of intent for grants, and they were spending 6 to 8 hours per grant, and the organization had spent a considerable amount of money on research. And I built a tool, and within 5 minutes, it had doubled the amount of opportunities that the expensive research had found. And this was like quite expensive research. We're talking like in the 5-figure range. And within 5 minutes, we absolutely demolished the research. And then we picked one of the grants and said, okay, let's write a grant for our organization. And in under 3 minutes, it spat out the output. And the executive director of this organization thought, oh, it's going to need like heavy editing. And he's like, how does it know exactly what to put in? Like, even the budgets were pretty rock solid based on the activities that they're doing and where the money would need to go. And it was interesting because the executive director said, this is like less than half an hour of editing for me. So, you know, it cuts down a 6 to 8 hour task to under half an hour. And now this guy's got these grants going out the door, and we have a good fundraising model for this organization. And I just thought, like, what a great use case of projects to achieve something without building out a custom application that's really hairy. Like, this was just like some reference files and prompting instructions that got us there. And obviously, like, you know, there's some prompt engineering taking place there that's very particular in how this project operates. But I thought, like, yeah, for me to set it up, it was probably under 5 hours of setup, and now they're going to save hundreds of hours a year, right? So very cool.
Yeah. I'll take it even one step back from that, just the differentiation between custom GTP and a project and an agent. So I like to say that the custom GTPs are kind of a very particular role in your organization or a lead, and basically you prompt them with a fairly sophisticated prompt so you can go to it and get feedback and answers back on a very specific type of question. For example, we have an outbound lead generation custom GTP that's been loaded with the latest documents from Smart Leads, Apollo, whatever that whole system is. So I go to and ask very specific questions and get an answer. Whereas projects have a memory to them. So anything within the project folder, it can relate to multiple chats to that folder.
Correct.
Continue where you left off, which is kind of cool. The custom GTPs can't do that. And then agents can kind of do multiple tasks and run them all together, laddering up to one central prompt command. Then we were just talking about the idea of the canvas flow. And I just had to read a little bit about that. But it's kind of a way of interrupting your conversation and going back.
Yeah.
Asking it to clarify. So it's basically creating branches.
And it's actually interesting because before I located that, I was thinking, like, I was working on a form letter and I was kind of like telling it one piece at a time, and it was frustrating because it keeps doing this long output. And I'm like, but I want to just be able to shoot you information like I'm talking to someone who's going to be working on the document. And that's the problem that Canvas solves, is sort of that dialogue between GPT and the end user, which allows you to like build out things together essentially, which I thought was really cool. I haven't tried it enough to sort of get into it. Maybe we can do a little segment down it next week in a screen share where we do a full dive in with it. But I think that in particular sounded very interesting to me because it solves a very real problem of using LLMs.
Yeah, good to know. And it seems like all these kind of consumer solutions are trying to essentially offer the same suite of tools. Just gave me a great idea actually a little earlier ago. Yeah. So we've been talking a lot about Perplexity Comet browser. Now it's a standard browser. They just came out with the Teams version. So now we can deploy that across the team. So we're all working on different things independently or together. So now we can go in and collaborate on projects within the kind of Chromium browser experience, which is pretty good. And thanks for the nod this morning on the Comet credits. I think, what we can do is I'm going to go add a Comet credit link to the LinkedIn feed for this live event here. If anyone wants it, just grab it.
Pick it up and grab it and try it out and let us know. Yeah, it'll be like a little prize for catching our show.
Yeah, I'll do that. I'm going to turn it over to you for a sec because I got to go on mute for a second because the video always...
Yeah, that's perfect. That's perfect. So for those of you who don't know, Comet is the first sort of agentic browser that Perplexity has released, and it's been released to its max users, which is its like ludicrous price model, but also the Perplexity Pro customers are able to apply for waitlist. Chris and I have got through that waitlist process, and we both got into Comet, and now you have 5 invites where you can just bridge anyone in to the Comet browser who has an invite. So it's pretty cool. I've invited a few of my colleagues with it, and now Chris is going to give you guys an opportunity to race to grab that code and try the browser out yourself. But really, I don't know if anybody caught the show last week, but Chris was previewing this browser, and what you can do is anything that's logged in within your browser experience, it becomes agentified by the browser. So you can talk to your email and say, listen, I'm getting a lot of junk mail from these 5 sources. Go through, unsubscribe, and clean all of these out of my inbox, and just walk away and grab a cup of coffee, come back, and the job's done. But it gets a lot more complex than that. You can task it with helping with technical tasks. Yesterday I was trying to hunt down how to get an API within Zoho to connect to something that we're building, and it helped me do a lot of the research, which would have taken me a while to dig through and to get to the point that I got to within 2 minutes with Comet. So I think everybody's going to have different use cases for Comet, but really you can use it for software testing. Like I'm building web apps, and I'll go in to the deep mode, and I'll give it a command and say, listen, let's put through 10 test variations, gather all of the information, and package it into a file that I can give to my development team to fix these errors. And it'll give highly technical information because it knows it's going to be handing it to a developer. So it actually is like, okay, here's what we did. We examined the source code on the page. This appears to be the error of what's happening, and it's not getting this. And it's very interesting because instead of tasking these software testing tasks to someone, now you can just task them within the browser and sort of walk away or open a new tab and start working on something else. So Chris, are you're back? You back?
I'm back with you. Yeah.
All right. Awesome.
2 comment invites in the comments. So
that's awesome. Okay, you guys better hurry. It's a race now.
Dude, Nano Banana, what's going on with this? So I've had a lot of people guessing, wondering what exactly this Nano Banana business is, and at the end of the day, it was codenamed for Google's new 2.5 flash image generation.
Yeah, and there's a lot of these, like Nano Banana is interesting because it's like one of those ones where you can take like a simple picture of someone on a white background, or like even a bad picture of them with something in front of their face, and then be like, remove this in front of their face and make them look like a matador. If you look on their homepage here, it's sort of like really interesting. There are other image models that are doing this too, but I feel like there's major play in that space right now. And I was also telling you that Meta just made a massive partnership with Midjourney for image generation, and they're going to be allowing to do like image generation right within their platforms. And I was saying, I think like the social media platforms are just like sort of the low-hanging fruit and like the novelty factor, but I think Meta's sort of like turning their attention towards like, what is this generative image and environmental AI going to do in the future? Because Meta's invested heavily, as you know, in MetaQuest and augmented reality environments and 3D environments. And I think these partnerships are more thinking of like, what's the future of the visual side of AI, right? So I think it's really amazing. And I think that Nano Banana, I haven't given it a try, but like it looks extremely powerful. For a number of industries. Like if you think about it as a real estate agent, you could go in and take pictures of a house and not spend anything on staging. You could literally go in and stage the house with AI now. you can literally go in and you can use the APIs to be doing these things. So, you could create a program as an interior designer that says, okay, this is what your concepts are going to look like. And you can turn around client drawings in a matter of minutes with concepts and just say, here's 5 concepts of what I was thinking. And this is pretty much what I'm thinking. And I've got it out on the page. What do you guys think? They pick one. Okay, let's move forward. And it's like the possibilities are sort of endless for businesses, right?
Yeah, and I think something that I've always had a hard time is getting copy to format right, or format at all. No matter how specific and literal I am with, I want this word in the graphic. It gives me some janky, weird rendition in a font I've never seen before.
Yeah, I know, and it's interesting. And the other image model that I saw that was similar to this Nano Banana was called Flux Context, Kontext, and it was like, I think it was the one that was sort of like ahead on these, like that Nano Banana style image editing, where you can take like any image and just sort of like imagine something and it will build it out. So yeah, very cool. There's a lot going on in that space right now. I'm interested in that space just on a personal level, because there's an excitement and there's a novelty factor. But the reality is we need to build things that are useful for people's workflows and stuff. But knowing about these things in the future of where it could tie in, like I said, there is a business case for these things in the future, I think. And even right now, just for forward thinking business people who are like, oh, I can leverage that in an interesting way for my business, right? And I think that's where Chris and I come in, is you guys come have a conversation with us, say, hey, I've got this crazy idea and this is my business, and I saw this cool AI technology that I think we could integrate. How do you think we could do that? And then Chris and I sort of put our heads together and say, yeah, that does sound like a cool idea. Why don't we spin something up and try to get you like a little POC? And if it looks like it might help, maybe we go down the tunnel,
Yeah, just on a whole other point, my other world in the Dotfusion business is mostly around building large enterprise websites, typically on content platforms. And I've been talking for a couple of years now about the future of what a CMS is, and I was really leaning hard on the idea that a CMS is really just a content repository, and with AI managing content, it may not be necessary. And I'm starting to see already in some of my Slack channels on CMS related stuff, it's all about the MCP server and the agentic CMS kind of thing, where you don't need to log into your CMS. You work out of your normal tools and content appears on the site. And of course, hyper personalization is around the corner as well. Dude, are you seeing any new stuff on the product development? I know you're using Replit right now.
Yeah, there's a new one from Microsoft that actually just came out that I was talking about, and it's called Vibe Voice. And it is like, what they've done is they've integrated a voice agent into the front side where you provide the prompt, so you're actually just speaking into the prompt, and it's vibe coding based on your voice instructions. I think that's probably good for people who are using it at a vibe coding sort of, it's not seeing my fingers, vibe coding level, because they're able to give like very simple instructions and then just let it go and sort of figure out all the gaps that you didn't give it. But from a product manager perspective, I can't see like giving it bits and pieces vocally, like it helping to develop out like a pretty complex product that has pretty complex requirements. I think it's more better for like, hey, I want to make a website to sell cards or whatever, and then it just like builds out, like a whatever it thinks. But if you're building a very particular product with very particular functionality and requirements and user roles and all of these things, I think it would be rather hard to do that through a voice interface. It's better to have like a requirements document that you're working from and a vision, so that you can develop some sort of like vision and roadmap. to get there. I mean, like, road mapping, I was saying, has become slightly different in the world of agentic coding than it was when you were product managing a team and you had to sit down and figure out human timelines. Now it's more like the roadmap is sort of like been blown up. It's more centered on vision, I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What else is new? What do you see coming around the corner?
I'm seeing a lot of model development. We saw Grok released an open source model of 2.5, and they're aiming at like democratizing access to models. So that's going to spur a lot of innovation because it opens the door to using open source models and allows people access to models that didn't previously have access. So I think that's interesting. We're seeing a lot in the lightweight models right now. So models that are built for edge devices and low processing devices to be able to have AI features on smaller devices, and they're kind of making it more and more efficient. And also on the flip side of that, the massive models where DeepSeek 3.1 has just come out, and we're seeing a 685 billion parameter model come out that's absolutely crushing 4O's coding tasks on the benchmarks. Its power consumption is much better. So it's like a way lower cost model. Even Tesla's deployed DeepSeek rather than Grok in their EVs for some of the driving assistant functions, which I thought was actually quite interesting that they're using an alternate model. But you gotta do what's most efficient and effective and cost effective too, right? So I think it's interesting to see some of that within the community, though, where they're sort of like borrowing from each other, and it's become more common. Yeah, lots of interesting stuff going on this week.
Very cool. We don't often talk about the details of the stuff we're working on.
Yeah,
I thought I'd mention that, and some of the kind of the success stories we have. One of our verticals is commercial real estate, and we found some really great applications of AI. One main one is simply replacing human customer service at shopping centers and any place where there's more than one human helping people out.
Yeah,
We've got kind of one human in the loop, essentially, there for handoff, but an agent that can take 100 calls at once.
And I think it's great because and I think that's great because in those mall spaces, like the mall spaces have changed considerably. There's a lot more like incidents and stuff in malls than like 10 years ago. And I think that having those human people that were on the phones before walking around the mall and like helping people to access those agents is actually maybe a better model, because the agents are able to query stores. They're able to query stores and they're able to query stores and do things on the fly that humans would take a lot longer to do. And also, it's just very interesting because the way, like, if you're costing for something like that and you're paying for you're paying for a human to do a full-time job, maybe they're not on the phone for even 2 to 3 hours combined, and the voice agents are actually very efficient and you pay for them by the minute, essentially. So they're available 24 hours a day, but you're able to get this agent that's at any time that you call it is able to deal with queries and hand off text messages with store listings or feedback surveys, or so I think it's really changing things at the mall level. There's obviously the market's very used to what it's used to, so I think it's going to take a little while for people to get used to this sort of technology, but I think it's like really going to be transformative in these spaces.
Yeah, and another project I know you're working on is kind of aggregating data into essentially a data warehouse so we can query by voice or kind of chat prompts. And this example is for a large food manufacturing company. And they've got their products in stores all over the United States and Canada, and there's Amazon, Walmart data. There's
It's a project. They've got over 30,000 stores and like almost $30 million worth of sales in 2024. They had an explosion in terms of growth in 2024. They went up 250% in sales, and they've got a really key spokesperson for the brand now. And I feel like this year is going to be a strong year as well. But they've got all their data right now is siloed. They've got everything siloed, and they're having to look at it and make decisions in a way that's very siloed. And the first thing we're going to be doing in this project is to bring it all under one roof, to get it into a data warehouse so that we can get an API to talk to this data. And then we're going to be there's maybe two approaches. Depending on the volume of data, we might be able to just talk to the data, or if not, we'll probably have to bring it into a Power BI interface or something and use Azure AI to get some AI insights. But the point of the project is to be able to see all the data under one roof and how it relates to the other data, but also to get the AI insights of things that as a human we might not be able to identify in terms of patterns and being able to produce heat maps on the fly of multiple data sets and all these things. So really cool project. This one is like right up my alley. I love this stuff.
Awesome. And then of course, like, voice is just perfect for form completion, and why not have a conversation instead of me sitting there filling out forms all day long.
Well, I think you get more. Like, we were talking to one of our clients about like that fireside chat model where you're like sort of like getting that information, and I don't think that information would come out of them in a form. It's just not as tactile as being able to get someone thinking and being a little bit emotional. It's like forms are very just mechanical. But I think when a voice agent asks someone something, they're like, yeah, actually I did have a problem with this, and I did it, and they'll give you a much more descriptive answer because they don't have to sit there typing it, and their mind is able to move at the same speed as their voices, whereas when you're typing, sometimes things get broken up a little bit. So yeah, I think it's really interesting, and being able to structure data. I mean, at the end of calls, we're able to say, were you satisfied with the call, yes or no? If they answer no, it collects the reason that they give and sends it right back to us so that we can start to refine the process and make the experience better. And I know that's something that doesn't happen on human calls. You might get feedback, but it's not automatically getting emailed to a stakeholder that can do something about it, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And so super fun space and a time to be doing this kind of thing. We're also had a great call this morning with another business that went through the cycle of kind of, what did you do? Vibe coding, which is great, and everyone should be doing it. So you're learning and you know what's going on. Like, just get out there and type some prompts in and see what you get. But our service offering also includes kind of polishing up vibe coding projects and taking them to the end line. Also, there's such a architectural component to kicking off your prompts. Even prompts from chat need a bit of human engineering, so you do get a decent first vibe coded product.
I think you're right. And I think that the vibe coding evolution will sort of be like, the vibe coder will have more of a product manager component where it starts asking product manager questions about, okay, I like your idea, but here are the points that we need to clarify for the direction that we take before it gets going. And Replit does a little bit of that, where it's like, okay, here's our game plan, yes or no, but it's not as like interactive as it could be. And I think that's where we're going to see an evolution soon, is we're going to see it sort of acting more like a product manager, where you can be a product manager, you can talk to your agentic product manager. Oh yeah, I did forget that. Okay, how are we going to deal with the database structure? Okay, what are we going to do here? How many user types are we going to have? How will they interact? And it starts to lay out that road, like that vision ahead of, like, in a very clear vision, so that when it starts coding, it's not making any assumptions. It's already got the answers to all the questions, or it knows that there's a placeholder of a decision to come, right? right? So I think that's probably the future, and I think we're both sort of like got the same experiences with that stuff, and we know now to come in with a more detailed requirements doc and vision before we start, because if things start off janky, they're only going to get more janky as you go.
Yeah, that's the problem that folks have, is that you have a light prompt, you get this sort of cool product, which is amazing, it builds anything, but as you iterate, it gets more spaghetti underneath.
Yeah.
To deal with what it originally set out to do.
Yeah, and I think that also will be part of it, is that code cleanup. Will be like, okay, let's look at the core functionality and what the product is doing, and look at what's not necessary and what's not even being used in the code set anymore, that might just be junk that's like sort of that's just there historically, and is able to be flossing all that on each iteration that you're doing. So I think there's improvements to come, but I mean, like, wow, is it powerful compared to like even last month and the month before and the month before that. And I think that as you get all these new models like Opus 4.1 driving these models, and you come back to a project, it's able to like work on the project differently than it did before, because the stack has changed since the last time you worked on it.
Yeah,
cool.
It's cool times. Just thoughts for next week. Thanks again, by the way, to everyone who's making time to join
guys,
us.
Thanks for joining us and listen to us talk AI.
Yeah, we'll be doing this every week. As you can tell, we're going through a transition into this new agency, which is really exciting.
Yep.
We're always at your service. The way the business operates fundamentally is we audit the idea that you have. We assess what kind of cost savings, and we take just a small part of the savings that you have. So
that's right.
Very friendly on the wallet, keeps you ahead of things. Yeah. I think next week I'll get into a little bit about how we're using AI in the outreach suite. We've got some improvements to that going on.
That sounds good.
Maybe we'll talk. Maybe we'll find a customer to come and join us as well. That'd be cool.
That would be cool.
It's a long weekend, so that might be the week afterwards.
Yep.
But stay tuned to all the cool things coming down the pipe from Tricycle. And thanks if you're catching this later on in the YouTube video and you missed out on the comment invites. Just shoot me a DM on some channel and we'll figure that out, because between us, we're happy to share and get more people using AI. And
that's right.
With it.
That's right. And then when we get you in the comment, don't forget that you'll be able to get 5 people in the comment. So it's like you tell a friend and then they tell a friend. And then
Awesome, man.
Awesome.
I'm going to keep harping on you to set your AI clock right. And
hey, you know what's funny is I got the video that has 3:30 on the clock, and I made it, and the AI thing all lights up, but StreamYards won't allow me to do the video background.
The video. So
it's only in Google Meet. So next time I do a meeting with you in Google, I'll do that. But I won't be able to do that for our participants yet. I might be able to figure it out. There might be a StreamYards hack that we're unaware of.
You know what? I found there's a video option.
Oh,
we'll go through that later, and surprise folks next week.
We're gonna figure that out. We're gonna get it going, guys.
Awesome. Okay, well, thanks everybody. Thanks, Dave. Always appreciate your time.
Yeah, thank you, Chris. I always have a fun time talking to you, and I know that you and I are cooking up a lot of stuff, but it's always fun to do these talks with the office hours. I have a good time.
Well, I'm gonna go on AI myself and get outside.
Yeah, me too. My kiddo just got home, and I'm gonna go play at the park with her and give her a big hug, and and then I'll get back to the weird AI stuff later on.
Talk soon.
All right, guys. Thank you very much, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Good to see you.